Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be here at the Blue-Green Alliance and to talk about, issues that are near and dear to all of our hearts, the environment and good jobs and how we rebuild America. What an exciting time. How many people watched or saw the inauguration? Was that it or was that ever? It's a rebirth of America. And it's a rebirth of what we believe in is good jobs and a clean environment. We really have a tremendous start here. A tremendous excitement is everywhere throughout America, and especially here in Washington, because after 8 years of George Bush, we need a new start, I'll tell you that. It's been rough, but I got news for you. He's back in Texas where he belongs, and I hope he doesn't come back. We're talking about how we got together, and the Teamsters and the environmental movement weren't always together. There was this thing back in the 80s and 90s where people didn't think that, blue-collar jobs and the green environment worked together. And it took time for us to work together to find ourselves. And it was an issue of issues that came about and events that came about that I think brought us together. And it's a great pleasure for me to talk to you about the Battle of Seattle. And I wish Leo Gerard was here, my dear friend, because Leo and I were side by side getting tear gassed and pushed around by the cops. But we were the ones, along with all the environmental movement, that went to the streets that day. And we were the ones that basically attracted a national interest of how we could stop the WTO. And everybody said you can't stop the WTO. It is this cabal of world capitalists that move people around, workers, and basically resources all over the world for a race to the bottom. And we got together and said, not here, not in Seattle. And with the environmental movement, we got together and we tore that town up and we stopped the WTO in its tracks. And we got to do it again until we get it right. We got to do it again. And I was there with Sherrod Brown. We're just talking that Sherrod was there with me and a great man called Paul Wellstone. Many of you know Paul Wellstone. And what a loss he was, because Paul Wellstone spoke out with us and walked the streets with us, a great fighter for America. There's so many we can do, but we talked about that day, and I have a picture in my office of a woman who had dressed up as a turtle. And I always say the Teamsters and turtles came together that day, and it was fun, because that was the beginning of our dialogue with the environmental movement, about talking about, instead of working against each other or thinking that we were in different worlds, that we all share the same planet, we share the same environment, and we have to find a way to work together. And that's what we did that day. And we started on a road that I think continues on today. And for the Teamsters, another issue is Mexican trucks. Mexican trucks under NAFTA are supposedly supposed to come across the border, but because of a lot of hard fighting and because of our alliance with the Sierra Club and Public Citizen, we've been able to keep that border closed. These trucks come across, they pollute our environment, they are unsafe on our highways, and we're going to keep that border closed until they fix those environmental trucks and make them right so they don't pollute the environment. We can do that. And the port campaign, another issue that we've worked on very hard, because the port campaign in Los Angeles is something that is so important. The port campaign is, as if you know, the Port of Los Angeles, 2/3 of all imports come into this country come through that tremendous port. And what we found there that were old dilapidated trucks by exploited drivers, many of them immigrants, driving and polluting the environment, not because of them, but because of the way it was set up. And there was a tremendous cloud over the city, high rates of cancer, high rates of problems with emphysema and other problems. And we got together with the environmental community and say, how do we address this? How do we find some way to help the workers, help them have a way to join a union, and at the same time come up with a way to clean up the environment? And together, working with the Sierra Club, working with Lane, we were able to basically change the law. And today the law is people are going to clean up the environment and they're going to be able to join a union. That's a success, and that's a partnership of the environmental movement and the labor movement. And that's what we have to build on. And all these things coming together right now, We have another issue. Now we're working on employee free choice. And you know, that's the biggest issue that we have. That's what it's all about, the employee free choice, giving workers the chance to join. As some people say, if you can, join the Republican Party by just writing your name down, why can't you join a union? When 51% get together, why shouldn't they be able to join a union? That's what we want, and that's what we're going to get. We're going to pass that law, and we can do it. And we can do it together. But working on employee free choice is not just labor, but the environmental community has joined us. And all the aspects of the environmental community are helping us get this done. So, it's not about us alone. It's about all of us working together, forming coalitions, and working to talk to people in government about what's right about changing this country and making it so our children can enjoy it. All of these things affect what we do. And my constant dialogue with the environmental community, with the Sierra Club, has changed our views. And something that I know that everybody in this room is going to be very happy about and know about an announcement that we made last fall, that we were involved in drilling in Anwar. Well, guess what? We've decided it's a mistake. You can't drill your way out of this. We no longer support drilling in Anwar. So that's it. How about that? You know what it's about? It's about finding out who your friends are. And when we needed help, who was standing with us? And when you look around and you see a guy from Public Citizen over here and a guy from the Sierra Club, you know what? Maybe we've got something in common, and maybe we should be talking together. And that's what this has done, and that's why it's so proud the progress we've made about where we're going today. Recently I had an opportunity. I have to tell you this story that I was at the White House last Friday, and we were signing a bill to create the White House Office of the Middle Class, a great initiative by our new President, Barack Obama, and Vice President Joe Biden. And it was such a pleasure to be there because many of the labor leaders had been banned from the White House for the past 8 years by George Bush. So the first thing that the Vice President says when we all get together was, "Welcome back to the White House." And you know what? It was much appreciated because it was nice to be back. And the President took us into the blue room, which was a private room. He said, "Everybody come over here. Everybody else leave. All the labor leaders come over here." And he walked in and he talked to the labor leaders and he said to every one of them, "I want to thank you for what you did in the campaign. I owe a lot to you." And that meant a lot to everybody there. You know what? We're going to have a great president. Barack Obama is the real deal. And I'm very excited about it. He is the gig. He's our guy. Barack Obama talks about creating 5 million new jobs. I hope he does. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure we can do it. And he talks about the environment and about how we can do this, about how we're going to harness the power of the wind with wind turbines, how we're going to get the power of the sun, with solar panels, how we're going to get the heat generation and get new things to generate heat, how we're going to go and get the power of water and get new water generators. Well, that's a great idea, but if we're truly going to build 5 million new jobs, let's make sure that they're made in America by Americans and they're made union. Let's do it right, and let's make sure we really rebuild America. We can do that. All these things come together at one thing. We have so much to do, and I've never seen so much promise. On the day of inauguration, I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and I walked out of my apartment, and I never saw so many people walking with an expectation in their face. Thousands of people walking to the mall at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it continued all day. And people had a look in their eye about hope, about the future of this country. And that really is what we're looking at. We have such an opportunity here to remake America, to start this progressive movement again. And I'm proud to say that organized labor and the 1.4 million people of the Teamsters Union, we're with you all the way. As Barack Obama said, yes, we can. Let's get it done. Thank you very much. Thank you.